Okay. Today is June 1st, 2023, and this is our weekly developer check-in meeting. We're going to go around and do some quick introductions. I can start. My name is Jen Lampton, joining from Oakland, California, and then I'll turn it over to Luke.
My name is Luke McCormick, in San Ramon, California. Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg, usually in Australia, now joining from Greece. Computer problems, so today I'm going to be not facing you guys because I have the Zoom call on a different computer than the one that I'm working on. I've been working on a couple of issues. There's one critical that we need to fix and get a bug fix release as soon as possible out. So we'll talk on that a little bit later. Pass it on to Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm in Deerwood, Minnesota. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to leave pretty quick here after this, but anyways, that's it.
Okay, so a couple of general housekeeping items. We have a new blog post up announcing Backdrop 125.0, so thank you, Luke, for putting in all the effort on that. Just wanted to make sure everyone knew it was there to go check it out. We have one new contributor, Nayan Parsad. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct, submitted an application, indicated that they wanted to contribute a project, but didn't give us any information about the project. I know our template can be a little bit confusing sometimes, so I responded with a clearer set of questions. It might be worth reviewing that and having two different templates so we don't have to keep asking people, if you provided option one, here's question one, if you do option two. I've been thinking about that a lot. If we had one question that was like, maintain an existing project, or like want to be a co-maintainer in a current project, or what have you, just different sets of questions for people to make that a little more straightforward. But anyway, welcome anyway, and I hope that you answer the questions and we can get you in as a maintainer. All right, I think that's it for regular community contributions. I checked the list of new projects this week and there weren't any new ones out, but I do know there's been a flurry of activity on updates to old ones. So continuing thank yous to our current maintainers for keeping their stuff up to date. For urgent bug fixes, we have a pull request that's currently marked ready to be committed for 6126. Which looks like it's just a problem with double escaping. So Laren caught it right away, which is really good. Hopefully we can get that out soon. I'll create a checklist release issue for 125.1 after this meeting, and we can figure out when we want to schedule that for. It'll probably depend on when our core committers are available. So if any core committers are watching this later and you have some availability this week, let us know what that is, and we'll try and get a scheduled date up for that. There's also an old issue 3492 that's gotten fixed recently that we could also squeeze into that 129.1 release too if we wanted. Also on our core issues list are two issues we've talked about a lot lately. One of them is chained set of tokens that work in the same way our chained menu items work. There's a pull request ready for that. I need somebody to review it. Essentially, if you had a website that had country, cities, and states, you could have a URL that went country/state/city based on your hierarchy in your taxonomy tree. And it would give you one token to get that whole string of, no matter how deep your taxonomy is, it'll chain them all together in a nice clean path. So this is really useful for people who are using hierarchical taxonomy. If you're only using tags or something like that, it might not be super relevant. And then we have a issue that is a visibility rule for layouts on user account visibility. We had a pull request that we all sort of liked, and it went to core committer review, and then we got some feedback that sort of put it back the way it was before, but with some of the later additions. And so I had some ideas on how we might be able to include some of those changes that were in the latest pull request, but in a way that's a little bit more similar to the previous one. And I was going to submit that as an alternative to the current pull request. So hopefully if we keep going back and forth between what we want and what core committers want, we'll find a kind of a happy medium in the middle that's still usable and makes sense and has all of the simplicity that the core maintainers are after too. So that one still needs work and it's on my plate. And then there's nothing else on the agenda currently, but I am going to check the forum real quick. Weekly meetings. I don't see agenda item topics in here. May 25th. We don't have one for June. So we might not have gotten one for today. So hopefully nobody had anything urgent to talk about. I'll check on that later and make sure that's working appropriately. Anything else we want to talk about today specifically? No, Tim had to drop off. A couple exciting things going on in the world right now. DrupalCon is next week. I'm not going to be there. I don't know if anyone is planning a informal get together of Backdrop people, but that might be fun to do. I know Arena and Tim and a handful of other people who work on Backdrop stuff are going to be there. I don't know if there's any kind of off thing happening or if anyone submitted a session that might include anything about Backdrop, but if anyone knows about anything that needs to be promoted, we could do some promotion from afar via our Twitter, website, events page, or anything else that we think people might be interested in. There's been a lot of really great activity around Backdrop marketing lately. I was kind of hoping Robert would be here. He built us a newsletter sign-up form that we have deployed on backdropcms.org, the main site, in the footer across all pages to replace the previous one that has been gone for several months. And he wrote a module in a way that we can now put that module on all of our other properties, and all of them will submit signups to CiviCRM on our primary website. So he did a really slick job of integrating a form with our CiviCRM instance in a way that we can start recording people. If they already have a user account, the setting will associate with their current user account. If they don't have one, they'll just get it added to the mailing list. So yeah, a really slick integration there. So I was hoping he would be here so we could thank him. He put a lot of effort into working on that. He tried to do it with a web form that was CiviCRM enabled, and that didn't work out quite as smoothly as hoping. And then he tried to use it using the new CiviCRM version 4 API, and apparently that was a nightmare. So then he went back to using the version 3 API. So I know he put in a lot of effort in on that, and the end result is really cool. And I'm hoping to get that rolled out to the forum site at least today, and then to all of our other sites in the near future.
So it aggregates from the rest of the subsites like the forum and okay, that's very cool. Okay.
Yeah, he wrote a module we can put on any site, and it'll submit back to the main Backdrop Civi instance. Yeah, all we need is we need a secret key that authorizes us to do that on the website. But once we have it in place, then any site should be able to do it. So
that's really cool.
Also, Luke, Irina, I don't know how many other people have been working on this Drupal 7 soft landing upgrade pipeline plan, but there's been a whole ton of effort that's going into all of that. I'm not sure if these need to be two separate initiatives, but right now we've got one page that looks pretty strong. And I think we could definitely start with that if we do feel like we need one that's more specific towards pipeline stuff and another one that's more specific towards just end of life marketing, we can split it. But it seemed to me like that a lot of what we were talking about was in parallel or even the same stuff and applied to both. So I'll leave that to you guys to decide. If you want more pages, we can definitely do that. But I think what we have already looks really great, and I'm excited to see that start getting used. I got so excited about it that I went and updated the block on the homepage, and I put it in the footer on the marketing page that Luke and Irina have been putting on. And I'm like, I want this on every page on every site, because I got so excited about it. But then I'm like, okay, maybe we should wait till I have a better page to link to that button. So as soon as the page gets done, my plan is to get that rolled out to all sites too. So Excited about
There
that.
was
And since I want people to be able to go to it from DrupalCon, I'm highly motivated to get it published tomorrow.
Great. That would be great.
there were we had a few bullet points, and there were two that I thought were missing. One was about security. So we're saying, Backdrop is fast, it has a great path, but we didn't mention the security bit. So I've added one bullet point for that, and one with regards to the community, but it was just a dump of thoughts that were coming to them to mind. So it has a lot of question marks and dots. So I need some people and maybe the ordering of where I put the bullet points is not ideal. So we need a few more eyes to just go through it, tweak things, and then it should be ready. But it's like 98% done.
That's great.
I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll continue the thread in Zooled, I guess, and try to get consensus on any final things that need.
I sort of like revived. Do you remember, Jen, that we had an issue in the b.org queue about the pillars, which is something that So I think that it's a good point we started doing that, because Irina brought up a few points. So the current article now has a section about the why, the how, and history. And history used to be at the top. And Irina made a good point. I had a small concern that it was kind of lengthy. And then Irina, I wasn't going to mention anything because I didn't want to block it. And then Irina said, "Oh, you know what? If I came to this page, I wouldn't be interested to find out. It is interesting, but it's sort of like encyclopedical. So let's put that at the bottom, right? So the bits that I would care more about is this and that. So we reordered things, and that triggered me to think that we need some sort of table of contents block on the side, so that people can quickly jump to whichever section they're interested.
That's a good idea. We could do one specifically for that page that's just like hard-coded custom block, but it would be good to build something like that we could use anywhere on the rest of the site.
I know that I'm not sure if Olaf is maintaining it, but he keeps mentioning this module, which is called table of contents something. And it automatically picks up all the H2s, H3s, and it builds the table of content. And it's like, and I think I'll find it actually.
Yeah, that's great. I had something really similar I used on Drupal 7. I don't know if it's the same. Like used a JavaScript library to automatically build it. Yeah, that's probably what it was. That'd be great.
Yeah,
and
it's called TalkBot, as in TOC TalkBot. Yeah, and Olaf is a maintainer. It creates a block. Yep. So it's a block that we can place there. So it seems like some testing and put that there, and we automatically get a table of contents.
Okay.
But
that could be really useful on our documentation site too. We kind of already have a sidebar problem, but on the doc site, but in general, it could be useful. We'll figure it out.
That's why we have. We already have a sidebar that has the book outline or whatever you call it. So it's going to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to sidebars, and then it's gonna be very narrow for the actual content. It's gonna get really lengthy. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Maybe we can take advantage of the layout, and if we see that a page is too lengthy, we just split it into sub pages, and that helps it break it out a bit.
Yeah.
Break it up. Yep. I think that you, Jen, put that headline, the bolded headline in that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be bolded. I just randomly dropped a paragraph in there and was like, however you want to handle it.
You were just saying
it wasn't my paragraph. I think it was Doc Wilmots or Roberts or somebody else had suggested it. I just liked it, so I just dropped it on the page.
Yeah, and it was saying something like more than 2,000 sites, and I thought that it was unfair because it's constantly at least 2.4 thousand. So I just changed the number. And I thought that someone has put a good graphic of the in the history section of the various Drupal versions, but a condensed one, not the one that it's very convoluted, or what you call very busy, I guess. And I remember that Tim had created one stats, because we don't have graphs in our usage page, but I think that Tim has created for one of his slides. It would have been good if we had both of those just to show that, our graph is healthy and it's like growing instead of just saying, hey, it's like over the years. If not there, so maybe link to the page actually, because it's a live page on our side.
Yeah, and if we do end up splitting history off into another page, maybe that would be a good place to have those two charts by comparison. Be like, this is
Yeah.
today and this is, but yeah.
Sorry, because I phased out and I was focusing on pull requests and things in earlier. Did you bring up the jQuery and PHP 8.2 issues?
No.
Right. I think that we should. So the PHP 8.2 compatibility issue is issue 5927, and it's currently in needs review and testing. The reason why I'm mentioning these two issues, the other one is about the jQuery version 3. It's issue 3106. The reason why I'm mentioning these two is that the sooner that we get them in, the more exposure to people testing and trying to see if they break things. So yeah, we should try to review and get them as soon as possible.
Okay, I missed the number for jQuery
3106.
3106. Thank you. Okay. Those are in the agenda too, if anyone wants to see these later. So for the jQuery one, it's marked needs work.
We have some time. If you don't want to just buzz off, I have a few interesting issues to bring up.
Sure.
So one of them, we talked about it during the previous dev meeting, and it's like it's issue 5185, and it's like telemetry collect enabled collect metrics about enabled core modules.
Mm-hmm.
This would help us, make a decision on the entity reference and whether it should be on by default or what have you. So I've updated the pull requests, or I think Peter had a pull request there, but it was spitting out everything in an array, and it was setting out all the enabled core modules, whereas by default, like with a standard profile, which is like a 98 or 99 of the sites according to the current telemetry, there's only 8 modules that are disabled. So I thought that it would be more reasonable to just collect stats on those. And out of those, one of them was the testing, the simple test module, which there's no point in collecting.
Really
need. We don't need. Yeah. So I need some input, because we either need to fix telemetry on both ends. I mean, both the module and the respective modules on our infrastructure to accommodate for arrays, which will take time. Or the only option that I could find was just different metrics for each one of these modules.
Yeah, I think this is good. Didn't we talk about this a few weeks ago, doing it this way too? I think it's great because if we try and do something where we add support for an array, that's going to need a lot of testing, and it's going to need to go into a new feature release. Whereas if we can use the APIs that's already built, we don't need to add special tests in order to account for it. So I think this is good. And because there's only now 7 modules. This is not an overwhelming amount of data we need to be worried about. And if ever in the future we decide we want to handle it differently, we can change it and write like an update hook on our old data if we needed to clean it up. But I think that this looks really good the way it is right now.
Yeah, and initially I worked on a few pull requests, and initially what the way that I had it, it would send information only about disabled modules, and then I have an explanation there about the code generates a list of disabled core modules. Oh, and it was sending an individual metric for each one of them, but that was not ideal because it would result in individual metrics for each one. and then it would show as 100%, disabled. And that's not what we really want. And so initially it was only reporting on disabled. Now it reports on whether they are disabled or enabled. So it sends that value. And for each one, we will get a percentage of how many sites they have it enabled instead of doing maths in our heads, and getting, because our current telemetry page has a percentage as well. If we were sending only disabled, it would say as 100% disabled, and it wouldn't be the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I like this.
Yeah, cool. So it's the best that we can have with the way things are, and then we can improve it at some point. I think, but yeah. So that's one. Then it was an issue that team has started off, which is 5791. Provide a list of enabled modules somewhere to help with debugging. And team tried a thing. He provided a pull request that also, I think it has a recipe or something like that, or it builds a view, because we have system views now in core.
Mm-hmm.
And what I ended up doing, if you look at that issue, the last 3 comments or something.
Did you say 5491?
Sorry, 5791.
791. Thank you.
So I need some feedback. There's a pull request that you can play, like there's a sandbox that you can play with. And what I've done is I mimicked the Ajaxy way that we have for the user interface, where we select the config export thing, where we have a text box and it populates things. But I've done that with checkboxes. So people can select as many or as little information, whatever is relevant to them, to send or to copy paste. And then GitHub also allows to have, see how we have templates for the issues? It actually allows you to have forms, and we can set up a field that says paste that information here for people when they create issues. But it can also be useful in places like the forum or Zulip chat. Someone can say, hey, can you go to your reports, debug, or whatever you want to call it, and then copy the list of modules and paste it here. So that's what it does. There's certain things that are not working, and maybe we don't want them in core, like the copy to clipboard and download text file thing. I don't know if we need that. But yeah.
I think as long as we leave that, like that output, if we could put it in like a form element, you know how we do in views, where you can do like a Control A and it'll select everything, but not the whole page, just what's in the box. That would solve the copy to clipboard problem, because you don't have to like worry about selecting a specific part of it. But I don't know if we need download as a text file, if it's that easy to copy paste out of there.
Working for years and years in support, one of the annoying things is that when people just paste a huge comment of a list of things, like the log output. And what we usually tell people is like, can you put that in a text file and upload it instead of putting it here?
But in GitHub, you can't attach a text, like it's not easy to attach a text file, but it's really easy to like paste in a bunch of stuff. And same thing with the forum. Like, I'm not sure we allow attachments to forum posts, but you can.
Yeah, you're right.
I think for our use cases, we're not like put it in a file so I can have it nicely organized on my ticket. We're like, how can I see it?
Cool. First of all, these are dummy links. They don't do anything. I didn't work on the JavaScript that does it, right?
Yeah.
But I thought that since we have that similar UI in configuration, people might want to either download the config file or copy the config file. Maybe we could reuse these links and put them there as well. But we can leave it for a follow-up, but I'm not married to the idea. So
yeah,
I can those.
This is really good. I'm gonna leave some feedback on the pull request, but I think it looks really good. I don't know about the location of being a sub tab on the status report, but I don't have a better alternative, so that's fine for now.
Funny that you mentioned that. So there's some other issues as well. All right, let's move on. So yeah, whatever feedback test, let me know, and then I'll fix things up. There was. So if we go back to the jQuery issue.
3106.
Yes. So I'm not sure if, so I've left feedback there with regards to the UI.
Mhm.
It adds a sub-tab, sorry, I shouldn't say sub-tab, a sub-menu under development, which is called jQuery, and the only settings that it has is this, right? So if we keep adding individual things for everything that is developer, we're gonna have a huge list of things that only hold like a couple of settings. So I thought instead of adding a separate jQuery setting, we call it developer settings. And I have plans for it as well, because there's another issue that I filed and a link there that could fit things there. And maybe this debug information can go there.
Mm. No, I don't know about this is
Oh,
this
no,
is
because then you say settings and reports. Yeah, then you mess with, yeah, no, that's not a good idea.
yeah, and we do this in some other places too, like views configuration is on the structure page and not in the views area. So I think we're already sort of getting like there is a lot of gray area as to where things are gonna go. I feel like jQuery, like that might, I'm not sure that's a developer setting. Like
Well, it is.
I don't know. Like that could be something that like a front end developer wants to play with, or something that like somebody who cares about the user interface might want to play with. It's just I don't know what but then what isn't a developer setting? Like right? I don't
Yeah.
know. But I feel like maybe
Where would you put it then?
yeah, that was the like do I have a better recommendation for where to
On the
actually put something
system?
like this? I was just looking at it and like I don't know.
Yeah, it can't go at the system because we're trying to not do that, right? Because it was the
Yeah,
double
system
for
is just
everything.
where you put everything else that doesn't have a home.
System updates, sign information, and cron. Cron is there. Performance.
There's a lot of UI refactoring technical debt to be dealt with at some
Administration?
point.
It wouldn't be administration because it has to do with jQuery and modules that or themes that might be using that on your site.
I feel like it needs to be part of another page. Let me see. Where is our? Oh man. I have no idea. Let's just put it under web services. Never know what goes in that category anyway.
No one will no one will know that it's there.
We'll just
That
bury
would be
it. It'll be
surprised.
fine.
Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know.
have a
Yeah.
think about it. But yeah, I thought that if we make the new item that we're adding in the menu explicit to jQuery, then if we keep doing that, we'll end up with so many forms that only have a single setting. And yeah. Anyway, just have a think about it. What else?
Well, can we go back to the debug info? Just for
Yes.
same problem. So the reason you put it on the status report is because it contains almost all that same information that's in the status report.
Yes, plus
that-
it's also in the reports section, and the permissions that I've used is access reports. So I thought
Okay.
that it will go somewhere there.
Okay.
It can go as a top level, like it can go to reports, debug info. But I thought that it was similar to.
Yeah. I think
Also
I'd
not-
rather have it not be a sub tab, but I could
Yeah.
see an argument either way. Okay. I'll think about it. That jQuery one, that's really gonna bother me.
Yeah, I can move it out of status report. Just add a comment if I don't remember it. But yes, let's hear some feedback and then.
What is special menu items doing under system? I don't know. Because everything is, it's fine. This is open source. Things go everywhere. All right, what's your next issue, Craig?
Oh, there was an issue. Just let me try to find that one. Since you mentioned views, if you go to structure views and then settings advanced, I was telling the guys in the previous meeting. So there are some settings there that are for the develop module. And because we moved views from contrib into core, we inherited that setting, which is about devel, because
Mhm.
core normally doesn't do DRAS integration or devel integration, right?
Yeah.
The weird, let me just find the issue so that we have an issue to talk about. Just let me look in the, bear with me. Yeah, right. So I didn't know even what to call the issue. It's 6128. So I have a screenshot there of the advanced settings for views, and I have marked with the red rectangular thing the two settings that are, I don't know, should we remove them?
I feel
And
like we should move them into Devel.
yeah,
but
which
I
goes
don't
back
know.
to we need a developer settings thing.
Yeah.
And also, the reason why I keep coming across that and wanted to file an issue for it. I was never doing it, but this came. I have another issue for that. See how it says page region to output performance statistics. That's a D7 thing. We don't have a watchdog region.
Well, we didn't have a watchdog region in Drupal 7 either.
Was it injecting that region in all? Well, should we make it a block and people can place it wherever they want? What do we need to do? And also that's a drop down. And then the only option that's there is watchdog, nothing else.
Yeah. I feel like maybe we just remove that one, and
Remove it.
wherever the thing currently comes out, we just let it come out there. And then if somebody wants to control where the output goes, which I'm not sure anyone ever has wanted for Backdrop, we could find another way to do that. I think right now it just shows like at the bottom of the screen. It's just like,
It
I
could
don't
be.
know, I don't remember.
All right, some feedback required there, and then another issue is 6124, which is a exposing the theme debug setting in the UI.
Yeah.
So this just got in Drupal 10. I posted as a, maybe we decided we don't want to do it, right? But the arguments that they were using in D10 was that as a front-end developer, I want to find it easily, and it's just it's convenient now. So yeah, feedback there. And it so happened that when the change record with this came out, there was actually a person in our Zulip chat that either the day before or the same day asked, "Hey, how do I get
Enable theme debug?"
Yes, like how do I do it? And we don't have even, we don't even have a section in our settings PHP because it's not a setting; it's a config override.
I think we do have an example.
No, we have documentation, which because it's not a what you call it, a $ settings. It's a $ config.
Right, we don't have any settings except for our like database stuff. In Drupal, it was really confusing because it was like, yeah, I think most of our stuff is
Config.
I don't know. I thought so. I've had this long-standing desire to change our examples for our config overrides because the examples that are in the settings.php file are not examples you would ever use to override and config. Yet on every single one of my sites, I have like 5 things that are always the same on every site. I'm like, can't we put the 5 things people are going to actually want to override, like CSS and JavaScript aggregation, whether your global theme caching is on and off, and theme debug? Like those would be like. Like everybody surely needs those, right? Let's just put them there, and then if they didn't know they existed, they'll find out. I don't know. It seems like we could do a better job with that. But anyway, I'll create that issue because that's my gripe. But yeah, if it's not in there as an example, we should definitely have it. I am not in favor of having this in core, but I also feel like if people do really want it in core, I'm not going to fight it because I feel like if it makes things more discoverable, that's good. Yeah, where to put it is the question.
All right. Yeah, and we have another 1 minute. I quickly want to mention another couple of issues, and then people can come and give some feedback. The other one is 6125. And now you will see why I mentioned that advanced settings page for views. So there's a screenshot there about a setting with regards to views data caching that just
Oops.
vanished. That's vanished. And I think that I brought up during the previous dev meeting, and Nate agreed that he was the one that worked on very early thing and said, oh yeah, I accidentally removed that.
6128, is that what you said?
6125, sorry.
6125. Sorry, I can't keep up. Okay. Yeah.
And again, should it be there or should it be under developer settings?
Does it do anything? Did you find the
Yeah,
code where it was used?
yeah. There's a pull request. So I reintroduced what it was doing basically.
Okay.
So if you look at the pull request changes, you will see that there's besides the UI form that are restored, there's two conditionals in use cast set and use cast get.
Okay. Right.
Right.
I think I saw this before. I just forgot.
Yep. And then the
Okay.
last issue that I want to bring up, this is like a blast from the past. 6130. So this was initially filed for D7, but then it sort of like got moved to D8 and then lost traction, right? And it was an optimization. And there's some comments there that they said someone profiled it and they saw 5 to 10% performance increase. So what I've done is I cross or backported it, and now I need someone. I know Nate is usually good with that, but I need someone that knows how to do profiling and performance things and just see, do we actually gain from it?
Yeah.
And the pull request didn't break anything. Didn't break the installer. All tests are passing. So
That's
if
good.
we gain, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you use DDEV, it's pretty easy to get your profiling set up because they already set it up to like automatically just turn on Xdebug and you can get the information you need. And then Joseph wrote a really cool module that lets you do it anywhere where it'll automatically print all of the Xdebug output like in the backdrop UI.
Is
So,
that in
yeah. It might be still in his personal GitHub.
Yeah.
But we could ping him and ask him. Sure.
Anyway, I thought that it was interesting. It's there for when we have time to look at it, and if it does give us some performance gain, that's good. And that's all I had.
Okay. Well, that's great. We talked about 8 Greg issues today.
It wasn't necessarily Greg issues. It was just things that dug from the past. Other people might have started it.
8 good issues to talk about.
Yeah. So
Hi, Justin.
if you have time and you want to provide some feedback, testing, things like that, there you go. Interesting things to look at.
Yeah, it's great. Justin, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Do you want me to help ask Linode for,
Yes.
or did you already do it?
No, I didn't do it.
I figured you'd get the bill and then that would be a reminder to ask, but
Yeah, I
at least it was
got
for me.
like 18 Linode emails though, so I'm sure it sort of gets lost in the shuffle. Yeah, we should definitely ask Linode for more open source credit before they stop doing that. And if you can figure out how to do that, I think there was just a form. I found someone on their website that was like, contact these people, and then I emailed them and they were like, sure, here's credit, and that was just kind of it.
Did we have any news from that? What was it? The uni that they were hosting things that was an alternative to that?
I haven't heard from them in a while. We have an open ticket. I can go follow up on it. I think we needed to know our bandwidth usage for our current server. Justin, I think you helped me with that. You found it, but
yeah, put it in their Slack.
Okay. Yeah, I need to update the ticket with that information. Let me see.
And
So-
talking about Talking about infrastructure, just remembered something that maybe you want to bring up with Nate, or when he watches this recording, maybe he will get to it. If
Okay.
it has to do with our tugboat demos. Sorry, I should say that the sandboxes for the pull requests. So I discovered that all our pull requests are being generated, are being provisioned with sandboxes with PHP 7.2, despite the fact that we switched the code, the configuration for tugboat has switched to 8.1. And I reproducibly, like I can point you to a thread in Zulip where I was discussing this with Indigo Zella. I reproducibly switched to 7.4 and it was provisioned properly with 7.4. And then I switched back to 8.1 and it got provisioned in 7.2. So I don't know, it might be something. I did raise a it wasn't a ticket, it was, they had a form in their site, so I did send them an email, but maybe, I don't know, it has some people that he can poke and say, hey.
Yeah, that's really weird.
How are you switching it back and forth in the tugboat config file? Or
Yeah, so there's a
Tugboat
tugboat. Yeah, there's a YAML file that.
Mhm.
So we had a pull request that changed that to 8.1, and I'm sure that when we committed it, we saw and we verified that hey, our sandboxes are now working in 8.1. But
It wasn't-
recently, yeah,
Well, so if that syntax is wrong, it defaults to 7.2.
right. But I did check the available images that they have, because they have a list of available images, and the one that we were using is among the list. And they provide alternatives down to like the PATS level version. So you can do just 8 Alpine dash Alpine or 8.1 dash Alpine or 8.1 dot whatever is the latest / Alpine. And the syntax is right, because I'm only changing just the version numbers, and if I change it to anything else than 8.1, it gets provisioned as that.
Mhm.
But if I switch to 8.1, it just consistently provisions itself as 7.2. So something might be wrong with their images or whatever for 8.1.
Could be, well, I have a lot of tugboat experience. Let me take a look at the code, because there's a couple different ways to define those images
All right, cool.
during the build. So
All right.
yeah, where is that? So that's in the.
It's just
in
a
the
dot
site?
tugboat. Yeah, it's a dot. It's a hidden folder, a dot tugboat folder in our main repo.
Okay, the main repo. Yeah. I'll pull it up.
I'll get you a link. I'll ping you in that channel that we were discussing this, and I'll get you a link to the exact configuration file so that you can have a look.
Okay.
Okay, I have two thoughts, Justin, before I forget. CiviCRM does not run on PHP 8,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell, so we shouldn't plan on upgrading that server until they get whatever that is resolved.
Yeah.
Something else. Oh, it was about my sites running on PHP 8. Not necessarily relevant for this meeting.
Well, we can talk about that too.
Okay. I think I need to go though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, me too.